Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wilmer B. Patindon, and my partner in this reporting is Karel Albarida. We will be reporting science, technology, and society in 19th century. 19th century is believed to be the second industrial revolution. During this period of time, the modernization of industry has been witnessed. Science inventions is being used in factories for mass production of goods. 19th century is considered to be the age of machine tools. This period of machine tool invention was driven by necessity. Machines were not created for industry, but by industry. Problems existed in the manufacture of parts and machines were developed to solve these problems and increase efficiency and quality of production. The industries that drove this mechanization and development of machine tools were the great industries of the time: the weapons industry, textiles industry, and the steam engines. The goods that had once been painstakingly crafted by hand started to be produced in mass quantities by the use of machineries. This industrial revolution began in earnest by the 1830s and 1840s in Britain. According to Gregorian calendar, 19th century lasted from 1801 to 1900. Individuals who made great contributions in 19th century. One of it was Hans Christian Ørsted. Hans Christian Ørsted was a Danish physicist and a chemist born on August 14, 1777 and died on March 9, 1851. He discovered that electric current creates magnetic field, which was the first connection found between electricity and magnetism. His discovery influenced Ampere, Faraday, and the others, leading to the discovery of motors, generators, and electric lights. Hans Christian Ørsted's discovery of electric currents plays an important role in the modernization of machine tools. In 19th century, machines in factories were usually operated by steam engine. An icon of the Industrial Revolution was invented by Thomas Newcomen in 1700s. But at the end of 19th century, people began to use the electricity. The names of those who built on Ørsted's discovery are now famous. One of it was André Marie Ampère, who immediately began working to formulate the mathematical laws of electromagnetism, and Michael Faraday, who discovered that changing magnetic fields could be used to create electric current in a wire. The next is Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday was an English physicist born on September 22, 1791 and died on August 25, 1867. He contributed in the study of electromagnetism and electrochemistry. He showed that magnet can produce electricity. Thus, in 1831, he invented the dynamo, a device that changes the energy of movement into electrical energy. It is the first electrical generator that is capable of converting mechanical energy to electricity for transmission and distribution of over power lines to domestic, commercial, and industrial customers. This generator was invented by Michael Faraday and used in making aircraft, ships, and trains. Michael Faraday's invention ultimately changed the world and led to the many technologies used today.
John Thomson. His full name is Joseph John Thomson. He born on Chatham Hill, Manchester on December 18, 1856. He enrolled at Owens College in 1876 and he entered Trinity College in 1876 as a minor scholar. He eventually became the Master of Trinity College in 1918. He died on August 30, 1940 at the age of 83. He proved that an atom can be divided into smaller parts. While experimenting with cathode ray tubes, discovered corpuscles which were later called electrons. He stated that the atom is neutral. In 1897, he proposed the compounding model, which stated the atoms mostly consist of positively charged material with negatively charged particles electrons located throughout the positive material.
Significant inventions during Second Industrial Revolution. Example is the air brake. Trains were invented before the Second Industrial Revolution, but there were frequent accidents because slowing and stopping them was a complex or a difficult process. Luckily, George Westinghouse, a largely self-taught engineer who dropped out of college after 3 months because he was too busy inventing things. In 1872, he obtained a patent for an ingenious system that used air pressure to keep train brake. Westinghouse air brakes helped make possible the train rapid growth of railroads as a safe, reliable means to transport people and goods across the country. The next is the light bulb. Thomas Edison, perhaps the most famous inventor in American history, created many of his numerous innovations, but perhaps his most influential breakthrough was his invention and marketing of the first incandescent light bulb that was long-lasting and practical for wide use. The second is the petroleum refining. In the early 1900s, William Burton, a chemist and executive for the Standard Oil Corporation in Indiana, developed a process in which crude oil was placed inside a container and heated until it reached a temperature of over 700 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, the oil broke down into simpler, most useful byproducts. Burton gave us the array of distillates that runs from fuel oil to gasoline to petrochemical basics. The next is the QWERTY typewriter keyboard, was invented by Christopher Latham Schultz. A former journalist and a custom inspector came up with the idea of equipping a typewriter with a QWERTY keyboard whose arrangement of letters was designed to slow typist fingers slightly and prevent typewriters from jamming. The next is the skyscraper in Chicago, Home Insurance Building. It was the first use of steel in a building in the United States and marked the start of an age in which tall office buildings and office towers would rise in urban downtowns across the nation. This shift dramatically altered the look of cities and made it possible for much larger numbers of people to live and work. The next is the tractor. Before the advent of mechanized agriculture, farmers had to devote a portion of their acreage to raising a grain to feed horses and mules, since these animals helped them to work the land. By the 1890s, farmers were already using steam-powered machines, but the machines were difficult and dangerous since a spark from the boiler could set fire to a field. Luckily, John Floyd's devised a solution from it. The next is the razor, which was used today. And it was invented by a salesman named King Gillette. Got the idea for a razor with a handle that used a tiny disposable metal blade that could be discarded in the trash and replaced when it eventually got dull. And lastly, the wireless telegraph. The invention of the telegraph in 1844 made it possible for people to communicate for the first time instantaneously over a long distance. To sum it up, technology has changed the world in many ways. It is hard to imagine what would the world look like without technology. If technologies have not invented, the progress of our industries and our nation would become delayed. Thanks to those individuals who made a great contribution in our industry, without them, we will not be able to experience what we are experiencing today.